applications of linear relations, and interpreting distance time graphs. Each graph below represents one segment of Mrs. Kadai's drive to work today. Describe her movement on each segment and use appropriate terminology with respect to her journey, such as towards, away from, not moving, constant speed, speeding up, slowing down. And remember that D is her distance from home. So let's highlight the important information. It's Mrs. Kadai's drive to work. We need to describe her movement on each segment. We have to use appropriate terminology. Towards, away from, not moving, constant speed, speeding up, slowing down, and D is distance from home. So what am I looking for here? I need to describe the movement on each segment with appropriate terminology. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have. Towards. Towards would mean the distance is decreasing. So if I look, these two bottom graphs are both towards. Away from would tell me that the distance from home is getting larger. So these ones here, the first one here, the distance is getting bigger as time increases. So that's away from. And the same with this one here. The distance is increasing as time gets larger. Not moving would tell me the distance is the same. The only one where distance stays the same is this one here with the horizontal line. Constant speed means every second the distance changes exactly the same amount. Well, that would be shown with a line. A straight line that's either increasing, as that first one was, or decreasing, as this last one here is. Speeding up would indicate it's nonlinear, as would slowing down. If I'm speeding up, the distance is increasing and the curve is going to increase or decrease at a faster rate. If I look at this graph here, it starts out increasing slowly, but then starts to increase faster. So that's telling me speeding up. And this curve here has the same effect happening. I started moving a little bit slower, and then I start speeding up faster. The curve gets a little bit steeper. And I've written that in words on this slide here for you to copy instead of trying to copy the short forms. You can either pause the video now and write it out, or you can write it from the PDF that I've posted after. If I look at the next slide, it asks me to do something different. It says each graph below represents one segment of Mrs. Kadai's drive to work today. That part's the same, but now it wants me to describe what Mrs. Kadai could be doing on each segment of her journey. And again, D is still the distance from home. So let's highlight important information. Mrs. Kadai's drive to work each day. Describe what she could be doing. Describe what she could be doing. Well, first thing she has to do is pull out of her driveway. So if she's pulling out of her driveway, she would be accelerating a little bit to get out of there. So she wouldn't be driving at a constant speed. And if she's leaving her driveway, her distance from home would be increasing. That would be right here. Now, once she gets out of her driveway and starts driving, she's going to be traveling at a constant speed, so she doesn't get a ticket. And that would be this graph here. If I think about this one here, it could be Mrs. Kadai standing in line at Tim Hortons waiting for her coffee, because obviously she's not getting any closer to work if she's in line at Tim Hortons. Now, after she gets her coffee, she might realize she's forgotten something at home. And I say that because if I look at my last two segments of her journey, she's going towards home in these two segments. So it may very well be she's forgotten something, so she's accelerating out of the parking lot to get to a proper speed to drive home to pick up what she's forgotten. And again, I've written all of this here. So, the two graphs below, the next part of this asks me to write a story to represent her walk to class for the other graph. So this is the other graph we have. So if I take a look at it, if I look at this graph, she's moving away from because her distance is increasing. Distance is staying the same, so she must be standing still. And here, again, she's moving away from. So it would appear that she just walked to class and never turned around at all. If I look at my graph, this segment here is not as steep as this segment here. That segment was steeper. So that would tell me she moved faster. And in both cases, since it's a straight line, I know she's traveling at a constant speed. So I could say something along the lines of, Divya started to walk to class, realized she was going to be, Divya started walking to class at a constant speed and stopped to chat with Shrishti for a while. Realizing she was going to be late for class, she continued to class at a faster constant speed because she was going to be late. We have to use words like faster because the line's steeper. We have to use words such as constant speed because it is a straight line. Okay, and the story's there. Page 8, number 1 and 2 for homework.